Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 395, Pleasantville from 1998. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Pleasant Cove, a brand new community in Donalds. If you need a single family house in a new development, check out pleasant-cove.com.
Well, shout out to Pleasant Cove. Joe, do you think, would you rather buy a house in Pleasant Cove or Shangri-La?
I don't know. With the way they build these new constructions, and they all kind of look the same, but Pleasantville, I think. Okay. Yeah.
Boy, the new constructions, it's bad. It's all very samey, right? It's all the same.
It's IKEA. It all looks like it's an IKEA kitchen. So yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. With us tonight to talk about Pleasantville. So Pleasantville was covered on High School Slumber Party. Our guest today is a High School Slumber Party All-Star. I thought this is an episode that would have been early in the run. Nope, 305, late into the run of High School Slumber Party.
Yeah. With
some of Brian's high school friends, not his podcast friends. With us today, all-star of this show and also High School Slumber Party. Welcome back, Jordan Polan-Clarke. Hello, Jordan.
Hi.
Welcome. Now, Jordan, I don't remember at what point I gave you the list.
Oh my God, like 1,000 years ago?
I know. It's just like, well, we can do...
Yeah.
I'm just like, you want to talk about F9? We're doing that in June or whatever. It's like, okay. Was this a movie that you wanted to see, had seen? What is your personal history with Pleasantville?
I'm sure I've seen it before. I'm sure I've seen it a few times before this, but not for many. I remembered zero things about this movie. I don't remember, I have a vague memory of choosing this movie. I don't remember why. Okay. I'm sure you gave me a list, and for some reason this was the most interesting one on the list.
Okay.
But truly, when I sat down to watch it, I was like, wait, why are we watching this? And I figured it out eventually. Yeah.
Rachel had a very similar reaction. She's watching this movie for the first time. She's like, why were you... okay. Yeah, this makes sense now.
Hiya, bud. Joe, had you seen this movie before or no?
No, I didn't, but I made some jokes that became amazingly true as we were watching this film. That's what Rachel was texting you about last night.
Oh, yeah. This movie is a real fucking bummer to watch this year.
It's a really bummer movie. I had never seen... Have you seen it before?
No, I had not.
Okay, so we walked into this blind.
I knew the premise, and also if I had thought about the premise for more than 30 seconds, I would have landed on what it was about.
Yeah.
But it's really hey, don't you want good old-fashioned family values? It's just not really. But also, in the end, there is...
But neither do they.
Well,
so, kind of. Yeah, no, I know. We'll talk about it.
So, if you don't know what Pleasantville is, two 1990s teenage siblings find themselves transported to a 1950s sitcom where their influence begins to profoundly change that colorless, complacent world. Not streaming for free anywhere, but you can rent it for a couple bucks just about anywhere. Directed by Gary Ross, who has made 5 very different movies that I've seen all of, which is weird.
Okay.
He did the first Hunger Games. He did the Ocean's 8 all-female
I remember that one.
Semi-reboot, semi-sequel. He did Seabiscuit, also with Tobey Maguire. He also wrote this movie. He's written all those movies above. He also wrote the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
He wrote that? I didn't see that I didn't get that far in the Wikipedia.
He wrote Big? That's insane, yeah.
Apparently, he also produced this movie. It was also produced by a guy, John Killick, who did Hunger Games and Babel and Bronx Tale and Five Bloods. And importantly to me, produced by Steven Soderbergh, who Mike and I watched all of his movies over on Cinemakers. We did not do ones that he just produced, so I didn't cover this over there. He's just got sort of good taste and stuff. I think this is maybe Gary Ross's first movie or one of his first. So, I don't know. Shot by the guy who shot Field of Dreams, You've Got Mail, and Some of All Fears, this guy John Lindley. Budget of $60 million.
We just did Some of All Fears, too. That's pretty funny.
We did. No, we didn't. We're going to do Some of All Fears.
Okay, I didn't remember which ones we did. And either way, on the docket.
Also, Field of Dreams feels we just talked about Field of Dreams on the Super Bowl episode briefly, and You've Got Mail, another Tom Hanks thing. So it all comes together. $60 million budget, $50 million at the box office, 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, 71% on Metacritic, 79% of audience liked it. Filled with lighthearted humor, timely social commentary, and dazzling visuals.
Lighthearted humor.
Pleasantville, your colored girlfriend. That's all that is.
I know.
We'll talk about it. That was
Pleasantville is an artful blend of subversive satire and well-executed Hollywood formula. There is one crazy credit, which I will say, I thought was an error with the video that I was watching. The New Line logo plays in complete silence. 10 up, 17 down. I'm like, is my thing muted? Is this
okay.
playing incorrectly? No, it's just playing in silence.
I also thought there was a sound problem at the yes.
So the reason we're doing this is because this is not Paul Walker's first film, but it's his like sort of transition to becoming like a star. Like this is the first where people are like, oh, that's a guy who like can be a guy in things. So this is 3 years before the first Fast and Furious. I looked up, there is a Pleasantville in New Jersey.
Oh.
There are 4 Pleasantvilles in Pennsylvania.
4 in Pennsylvania?
Well, they showed a map. They showed a map in the movie. Were those just real?
I guess so. I looked, because the prep I do for the movie like includes going to Wikipedia, and I just type Pleasantville in Wikipedia, and the whole like disambiguation page has a bunch of different. There's none in Connecticut, Joe.
Sorry.
But maybe the map is all real Pleasantvilles. I don't know. Possibly. The only other interesting trivia, and then I have one other piece of trivia that I thought was just so dumb, which I just copied verbatim. But at one point, Jennifer tries to use a bathroom. There's no toilets.
Yes. Yeah.
In the 1950s, the FCC was like, you can't show toilets. You can't show flushing. You can't have people talking about going to the bathroom. It's profane, it's filthy, disgusting, whatever. And so apparently a big shift in that to actually have it so that we have in This Is 40 or whatever, where Paul Rudd is on the toilet talking to
Fast and
Leslie
Furious
Mann.
when we blow up the toilets in the police station.
Do either of you know the movie that the director appealed to the FCC and was like, I need a toilet, I need this in my movie?
No.
This is a fun trivia. No.
This is a good question.
It's an iconic bathroom scene, but it's not a toilet scene.
It's a bathroom scene, but not a toilet. Can you give like a year range?
I was going to say Scarface, maybe?
Before Scarface.
Okay.
It's not too long after the 50s.
I don't know. What is it, bud?
Psycho. The shower scene.
Oh,
Hitchcock's like,
they're
no, man,
totally in a bathroom.
I kind of need a bathroom, so if you could like let me show a toilet, that'd be great. And so they're like, all right.
Wow, that's a good trivia.
That's a really great trivia question. I'm gonna ask.
Like, I don't know if that was the one that like really did it, but that was one that people were just like, okay, I guess we can show toilets. So here's the other piece of trivia that I copied. Then I want to get your takes on this movie. This is again verbatim. This is again, Wes can't get stuff on IMDb, but this kind of stuff can go on there. Tobey Maguire plays Bud, whose last name is Parker. Tobey later goes on to play Spider-Man, whose last name is also Parker. It's like, well, that's not really trivia. That's just like,
It's cute. It's nice.
It's fine. But yeah, it's like, okay, but also he doesn't really play Bud, whose last name is Parker. He plays another guy who is in the role of Bud.
Yeah.
I think it's best with this movie not to think too hard about like those parts.
No.
Because they're nonsense.
So much of this movie, I was just like, what is... Because they're also like, before the characters do, I'm just like, what is color? Is color sex? Is it knowledge? Is it
so I was going to
else?
ask you guys, because Rachel and I were having this argument the whole film that I'm like, you just bone yourself into color. Like, that's what you're doing. And she's like, no, it's like the want to learn more. And I was like, pretty much seems like every time one of them fucks, they become colorful.
But Paul Walker's not.
They were really sloppy about that, because for a lot of the movie it did seem like it was just a sex thing, but then by the end when he's making the speech and whatever, it's like it becomes more of like a feelings thing, like a non-conformist or like a be yourself. I mean, they didn't do a great job.
No.
It's the woke mind virus. If you have the woke mind
I
virus,
mean, that's what it is.
color.
That's exactly what this movie is about.
You can either read or
but
fuck,
like it's
but...
oh boy, yeah.
What's really cool about this movie is this is like peak Reese Witherspoon, like right before election.
Yeah.
This is also to me peak like William H. Macy right after Fargo. So like he's basically Jerry Lundegaard and she's basically Tracy Flick, kind of. Like they're both like that kind of archetype, but she's like a cool girl instead of like an uptight whatever, but she's still got all the Tracy Flick high school energy.
Yeah, she looks so young.
Toby is a total nerd who is obsessed with the show Pleasantville. She is a cool girl who is about to become the coolest girl at the school because I guess the former cool girl moved away.
Yeah, that's what she says, yeah.
And she's going to have a date with like the cool guy or whatever, but they both get sucked like way earlier than I was expecting them to. Like I thought there'd be like more build up. Like 10 minutes in, they're in Pleasantville and I'm like, what? And so they're in there and the whole world is black and white.
Because the TV doesn't work and then a magic repairman shows up.
Because they break the remote, so the magic repairman comes to quote unquote fix the TV.
But also, Joey, he's watching Pleasantville because there's like a trivia
Yeah,
There's a $1,000
there's a marathon.
prize.
There's going to be a contest. He's going to win it. We know he's going to win it.
He's going to win. He's studying with his buddy. How do you think this would work out for us if we got sucked in to a Fast and the Furious movie? Like, does a rogue mechanic show up, Joey? Like, what would our arc be if like we were studying for a Fast and the Furious trivia, there was a prize, we're fighting with our little sister, like how does it go?
If we get sucked in, like, where do we wind up? I think
Where
we wind
are we
up, like,
in the movie? Are we in the garage? Is it a mechanic? Is it a TV repair? Like, because we have layers now, you know?
And I want to hear Jordan's take on this, but I was frustrated by this movie because it feels like the idea of, like, a fake TV show that, like, well, what happens when you reach the end of Main Street? It's like, well, it just continues to Main Street. It's like, there's more to mine there that they just don't do.
Yes.
Because, like, Fast and Furious takes place in a version of Los Angeles, a version of California,
Yes,
a version of the United States, a version of our Earth, right? Like, where we know that, like, they can go other places. Here, it's just like, no, Pleasantville is just Pleasantville. Like, that's just what it is. Like, you go Main Street is like this, and Elm Street is like this.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And it's just like, well, okay, but do more. Like, what next? And it's like, well, there's Makeout Point.
Lover's Lane.
Lover's Lane.
Yeah.
And if you have sex, I can't say the word over and over again this episode that many times, but if you have sex, you become colorized.
Jordan, what did you think? I mean, I don't know.
That's
Okay, so my brain is like absolute spaghetti, but I did read like an academic article about this.
Okay.
Because I was
interesting.
curious, like a medium academic article. I don't know. Again, brain spaghetti, but because the first thing I wanted to do after I watched it was I was like, what did people think of this at the time? How has this been reflected on? Because like there are parts of it that I'm like, okay, interesting, good, fun. But then the whole like, oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to read you a quote from this article, which was like written by an old white dude. Like, let's just say it. Like, I like what he's on to here, but like hold on, we'll get there. Okay. So he says, the trouble is the apparently alien influences that gradually infect Pleasantville don't hail from the future. The townspeople encounter J.D. Salinger and D.H. Lawrence, civil rights oratory, and modern art. On the soundtrack, we hear the rockabilly of Gene Vincent and Elvis Presley, the jazz of Miles Davis and Dave Brubeck, the soulful blues of Etta James. None of those were imported from the 90s. All were available and in many cases created in the 50s and early 60s, the very period that produced the sitcoms lampooned in the film. Pleasantville doesn't contrast the represented 50s with the liberated 90s. It contrasts the faux 50s of our TV-fueled nostalgia with the social ferment that was actually taking place while those sanitized shows first aired. So basically, that's
a good thought. I like that. I agree with that. Yeah.
I do too. And yeah, so this guy was basically like, maybe it's like not really what people thought it was about. Like these 90s kids went back to the 50s and like stirred everything up. This is actually about like the people from the 50s getting stirred up by things from the 50s that they just didn't know about, right? So it's this like fake nostalgia that we have, which like obviously is still a thing that's going on, which is wild.
Really?
Because this was almost 30 years ago and it's like obviously taken over. It's like even worse now, you know? Like literally there is a speech in this movie that Donald Trump could have made. But it's wild to me that you could say all this or rather like I cannot look at this as a good and useful or like particularly interesting movie because they do all this and they completely leave out like people of actual color and like actual queer people, right? They like actually leave out the groups that are harmed the most by this. And it's just a bunch of shit that gets stirred up a bunch of white people, which is like, isn't that the problem to begin with? Like, it's just missing such a big piece that I cannot be on board with this.
I wonder if, and my guess is there was a more subversive, maybe kind of John Waters-y thing, or some like darker, more broad, more deep, more like profound thing. And they were like, look, if you want to make money, we can't do that.
They were like, we can't make that movie. White. Yeah.
We need to have like mom have an orgasm so hard in the bathtub that the tree outside bursts into flames.
I did like that. So I like that part. I think that's great. It's fine. It's a fun time. Like, yeah, orgasms, fire, trees, great. And I really like the part where Paul Walker is trying to burn the book and Reese Witherspoon grabs it from him and kicks him. It's like there's a couple parts that I was like, ooh, that was fun.
I liked that, like, just generally, like, there's something very interesting about playing with, like, the color and having some things be colorized and having some things, like, just, like, plants and, like, things around them and, like, them seeing it and, like, the giver of it all, right?
Well, yeah, so that's the question, too. Like, we're talking about, like, you turn color when you either want to learn or whatever, but, like, the first thing we see is just, like, a rose is red. And then just, like, a green car. Like, the car has no agency. It's not like the car chose knowledge. It's just, like...
This is the other part. Like, when do you see color and when do you become colorized? Because both of those are two different things.
But it's not like Paul Walker... Because I thought Paul... Okay. Again, not knowing...
Paul Walker gets a blowjob and then sees a rose.
Well, but I was like, is he seeing the color or is that color for everybody? And it turns out the color's for everybody. I thought, like, he was, like, being
same
Oh,
woke.
I didn't think that.
We had trouble with this too.
I just
but then
thought
there's
the
meetings
objects
are
were
just
turning
like,
colors.
You guys see that green car? Which is also weird. Like, how do they know what colors are?
Well, they said this in the movie. They said this in the movie. They said it's green, but, like, real green. So, like, they, like, are essentially color blind, right? Like, they can, like, get the gist of a color.
But yeah, I think that the movie has a really interesting idea and doesn't either know what to do with it or also...
They bungle it because they just make it 50 different things.
They also sanitized it, as you just said, Joey. Like, they just sanitized it way too much for it to be, like, relevant or actually interesting and, like, not offensive.
Right. Also, it's way too long. It's two hours
It was
too long.
way too long.
Very long.
I think it's more interesting than watchable. Or interesting than good. And I think it's very sad. It's just like, I did not enjoy watching this. Like, I'm glad that it exists. I think it was trying for something, but I was just like, this is a tough 2 hours to get through. For not even, I don't even think necessarily, I mean, not helped by the current state of things, but also just like, this is not like a fully, like what you've been saying, Jordan, like it's not a fully pieced together, interesting idea.
That's why I was latching onto the color part so much, because I thought that was the most interesting, positive part about it. Like the idea of the color, not
right.
Yes.
But then it's like frustrating because it doesn't do anything, or it's not internally consistent.
Yes.
I would like to give a shout out to an actor we have not talked about yet, and that's Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels.
He was my favorite part of the whole movie. I don't know why. There's something about his character, the way he is in this movie, like a little, like, artsy golden retriever or something, like just so
whimsical,
kind of innocent, and then turns kind of whimsical. And I really like his relationship with Joan Allen, but then she just, like, leaves him at the end, or does she? Like, why does that happen at the end where she's sitting with both of them? Because that doesn't make sense at all.
They're in a throuple now.
I mean,
she has a colored boyfriend and a white boyfriend.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think
I use their terminology, not mine.
What is most I'm just trying to move past that.
I know, I'm sorry, I had to get it out.
I think the Jeff Daniels thing is interesting because before this became like a term co-opted for the wrong thing, like Jeff Daniels is, in video game terms, like he's an NPC, right? Like he's not like the star of this, but he's just the guy who he takes the hamburger, he puts the hamburger here, this already has the bun with the lettuce or whatever, and like if it doesn't work, his like internal code is broken.
Yes.
But like to that point, everyone is an NPC in this world.
Yeah.
And again, I'm using NPC in the way that like video games intended it, the whole like
of course,
whatever
new
way people use it. But like
not like what Pinky Doll, the one that's do you know this?
I think like a version of this movie has like each person like waking up and developing agency. Like I guess Paul Walker's is like getting a blowjob in the car, but like also,
but no, that's not because he's racist at the end of the movie. Anyways,
he doesn't evolve. Like all that happens from him is that he misses shots in basketball. That's how he.
One of the funniest parts to me is he comes back and explains blowjobs to them, and then they all miss shots at basketball. That was like top tier. That was like one of my favorite jokes in the movie when he comes back and they're like, "Oh shit!" and they lose like by like 60 points in the next game. It was awesome. They were just like, blowjobs on the brain. They discovered it.
The other thing that I was saying before that I think is frustrating is that like I don't know, even with the main characters, like I don't think this movie knows what it wants to do. Like Reese is like, "No, I'm gonna stay. I'm not ready to go home."
She stays. That's so weird. You can't like just go home and be like, "I'm gonna read books here too."
Yeah, We have more books and newer, and she can't write the books. Once her brother leaves, all the books that are there are gone. Because she doesn't know any of the books, remember? She only remembered like the first 30 pages or whatever. So she's going to read all the books that her brother has read before in school? Cool.
Is the point of the movie modern kids make 50s, faux 50s people woke? It's also she's trying to become a better person, but she could just come back to reality and be like, oh, the lessons that I learned there, like, I'm going to do these other things different. She's like, no, I'm going to stay here. But to your point, like, if she doesn't know the books are all blank. The books only get filled in once you, like, know the story and tell the story out loud. And she's like, I only read to, like, chapter 3 or whatever. Like, it's just, like, I don't know past that. Like, it's
that's
just
what I'm saying.
that.
The entire library of Pleasantville is just from his brain.
Also, okay, the ending where Tobey Maguire comes back and the mom, first of all, doesn't care that her daughter's missing. I mean, maybe she doesn't know yet, but whatever. We know Reese is not coming back. But when Tobey Maguire comes back and the mom from Malcolm in the Middle is crying, he becomes like her therapist. Like, I don't think that's the happy ending that you think it is, people who wrote this movie. Like, using your teenage children to solve your emotional problems as an adult lady, like, not cool. Don't do that.
Very weird. I agree. It felt
and we're
very,
supposed to be
very
like,
strange.
oh, he learned so much. He's helping his mom. No, that's gross. That's how you traumatize your children.
Yep.
Jordan, what was your favorite part of this movie? Because I feel like it feels like we're ragging on the movie, but I think it's like mostly interesting, if not good. Like, I think there's a lot to talk about, but there's stuff in here that I liked. Is it just Jeff Daniels? Is that like your favorite
Jeff
part?
Daniels is my favorite part.
And Joey,
But
much like you, he loves Christmas.
Mm-hmm. He also loves drawing Joan Allen fully nude on the outside of his
That was
shop.
weird. That was weird.
He
Why
came
did
in
that
hot
happen?
because I was like, Rachel, we need to work up to like the nudes on the windows. Like, these people just learned color. Now we see tits. Like, come on, what the fuck?
And then the high school boys were harassing her. Like, that was just wild. I think I already said my favorite. I feel like there was one other thing that made me laugh out loud, but I can't remember what it is. Like, I love when Reese Witherspoon takes the book and kicks Paul Walker.
How did we feel about Tobey Maguire watching his girlfriend get colorized across the pond?
Oh,
that hurts.
She's the one who the blockhead calls her his colored girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was her. But I mean, imagine your girlfriend goes across the pond and she gets colorized, and you were watching it happen. That's miserable, dude. High school times.
Look, glass half full.
She might just learn to read.
You could say, well, okay, that's another glass. That's a different glass than I was thinking about. But she was with Toby or whatever, and then she was with another guy, and she's just like, this guy is not, like, she develops consciousness, like, this is not a good guy. Toby is a good guy, and that's what draws her.
But we've established that you get colorized from orgasms, so, like...
That's not true, though.
It is. It's reading and orgasms.
It's, like, true for some people, but no, because Tobey Maguire got colorized when he punched someone in the face.
But you don't know if he had a fear boner or something. It might have worked the other way.
Wait, William H. Macy becomes colorized when he just starts crying.
That's what it's like in the end they tried to pull it together to make it make sense and make it like something larger or something.
We just spent so much time.
The courtroom scene is so annoying to me. Like, every movie, it's just like, how do we end it? Like, we'll just have a courtroom scene. It's like, that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We spent like 3 minutes looking at that mural they paint. Like, they're just like showing every angle of the mural. It's like, this does not need to be this long. But sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
No, that was just another part that felt a little too real for modern times, where he was like, don't I get a lawyer? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, we're almost there, aren't we? I don't want to watch this.
We were talking about how amazing it is that they turned to Nazis immediately.
Immediately.
It was like
the
first thing that they did, they were just like, nope, ban them, segregation, like off the rip.
Well, they are, look, I'm saying this with the biggest grain of salt. Like, in their defense of turning to Nazis, they are literally a closed-minded, closed town that has no outside influence. Like, if you're going to be isolated this much, like, there is no outside world, and all they see are the white people here.
But aren't they also supposed to also just be like very sanitized, very nice? You know, that
yes,
there's. And so to disrupt that niceness, disrupt that sanitation, I get why you would have them turn like that as a plot point. It's like it's obviously very real that happens. That's what's underneath a lot of that fake niceness a lot of times. But like really I guess that's what divided them, like because some of them became curious and some of them became Nazis. Like, and those are our only two choices.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That being the two, like somebody not being like, let's hear them out. Like, what do you guys know about that we don't, or something? That they were like, ban them. We're done.
Burning books, race riots.
Yeah.
Joe, what was your favorite part of this movie?
I liked Jennifer just fucking their world up. The Reese Witherspoon just comes in and just fucking flips a table off the rip and just demolishes this bitch off, like from pretty much minute one. And like that was really, really enjoyable to me because I was like, that's awesome. I don't want to imagine it, but I imagine that if I wound up in Pleasantville, I would be Jennifer.
Well, it's also fun that she just like, I'm going to use words like cool. I'm just going to like bring cool to the 50s. And just
be like, yep. Fuck this place.
Me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are you gonna do? Like, whatever, dude.
She was like, I have no loyalty to how this is supposed to be, so I'm just gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. Yeah, what I can also appreciate.
What I think the movie is also like another thing it's trying to do, which I don't know what the point of it is that like both she and Toby are like equally responsible for messing up the world. Like he's trying to be like careful about it, and she's just like playing fast and loose, but they're both causing chaos.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So I don't know.
Those cookies were for Whitey.
I do want to talk about the reason we are talking about this on the podcast, which is Paul Walker as Skip Martin, captain of the basketball
team. Great
names,
by the way. All of these names. Great names. Whitey, Skip.
One of the reviews I saw on Letterboxd said, this is the most natural I've ever seen Paul Walker. And it feels like, I wonder if he was just meant to be like old, clean cut, sort of like empty in the head.
He would have done numbers in the 50s. Are you kidding me? Those blue eyes and on the big black and white
hair,
screen.
Yeah.
But you need color. You don't need black and white. You can't. Those blue eyes don't really translate.
Not in this town, Joey.
It was almost sad that to not be. I feel like they made. I don't know if this is true. I feel like when they all their eyes are the same color. Like you can't even look at him and tell that his eyes are blue.
I don't remember. No.
Okay. I was not looking that close.
Maybe I made that up, but I remember
that makes sense.
Noticing that, yeah.
In a way, like we are all the same. There is no deviation, whatever. Yeah.
He also looked so tall. Is he tall?
He's like 6'2", I think.
Never remember thinking he looked tall before.
Well, I think there's also the Vin Diesel, like the Tom Cruise thing, where it's like he needs to look taller than he is.
Yeah.
And then The Rock is tall, and then you
Vin
have
is listed
Tyrese.
at 6 foot. But I don't think Vin is 6 foot. But I think it's like he just, whether they prop him up a little bit or shoes or whatever. But yeah.
He was like towering over everyone in this.
I have some questions for you, just like logistically.
Mm-hmm.
Reese Witherspoon marries Ryan Phillippe in like after they do Cruel Intentions, right?
That sounds true.
And it was like a year after this. So I'm like, do you think that Reese Witherspoon was like probably set dating Paul Walker and then goes right to just like a different Paul Walker and actually marries him?
I weirdly also had the same thought.
Okay, thank you.
Because I never thought that much about like Paul Walker and Ryan Phillippe next to each other before, but I was like,
once I saw that, I was like, it's the same guy. It's like exactly the same guy. So I was like, she is a type.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're here to entertain that because I'm just tired of Joe being like, so do you think they actually hooked up on sex? Like, I don't know, maybe, man. They're all good-looking people. They're all
no,
bored,
but I'm
maybe.
saying if in this case, her husband looks just like the guy she was just in another movie with. It comes out a year later. She was like, can't let this blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy get away this time. And he's not a Nazi.
Well, neither is Paul Walker, just in this movie he is.
Yeah, his character.
One thing that like kind of blew my mind, and it's like it's a thing that the movie kind of like hints at, but it's more, I feel like they don't stress enough the actual mind-blowing thing, but I'm like, imagine seeing art for the first time.
Yes.
Like, not just art you love, but like literally art at all. Like just being like, oh, this is a book of art? Like what? Wait, what is this?
I want to know how the art got in the book.
It's from his brain. It's from his brain because he remembered it. Like from art.
No, but Jeff Daniels says, who's that I don't remember what artist it was, but Jeff Daniels was like, who's that artist? And Tobey Maguire was like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, he goes like, I guess, right? Which I thought meant like anything that he has seen before or like read before, he can like put back into.
He can put it in the book. All right, sure. Yeah, no.
That was
anyway,
my thought.
That was really fun.
I feel like the movie would have been more. Maybe this is not more interesting, but like the only thing we know real world Tobey Maguire is into is Pleasantville, the TV show. It's not like he's an art history guy or like particularly good at this or that or whatever, or like well read. It's just like, I know this one TV show. After 5 minutes in Pleasantville, the world within the movie or whatever, like, that's no longer an asset. He's just like, oh, we're in that episode. But like that goes away too. It's like his knowledge of the world doesn't actually help him. But then his knowledge of the real world, which we don't see, kind of helps him.
Yes.
I feel like they were just like, he's a nerd, he knows everything. It was just that trope
same.
and they leaned into it.
I think so.
So they let him fill in all the nerd stuff.
Like he's a good enough student that like he could get away with this. You know, like he probably studied art and he probably read these books, so like it makes sense.
But it would have been in like a different movie. Maybe a fun movie. Just like a fun, silly movie. If like they woke up every day in a different episode and he had to use his knowledge of the episodes to like get them by until they could get out.
Well, I think this movie wants to be fun. It just isn't. It also wants to be serious. I don't know.
I think this movie is a lot more fun in a time where it's not so scary.
Agree. And also the genre listed on Wikipedia made me laugh. It says 1998 American teen fantasy comedy drama film. Like that's too many things though. Like even like the genre doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
We know that there's the TV repairman who like has been waiting for someone who knows Pleasantville to bring them into the whatever. But like
what does that mean?
If they were
Why?
If they had changed the channel when they're fighting over that new remote that's just like the big silver block, like would they have been sucked into that, or are they always destined for Pleasantville? Like I was trying to think about like,
and he has the remote with him in Pleasantville, and he just like hides it under the chair or something weird. Like go get that fucker and just like go back.
Joe, it's a new TV. It doesn't work without a remote.
But the other way around, he has the remote. Like
I know.
Yeah. Like what?
But also, it would be cool though if that remote like did stuff, right? Like he could meet people.
We've seen that before.
Yeah,
it's
see again, like
Flick
a different movie.
Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what it was. The Beyond section of Bed Bath & Beyond.
It did make me laugh. That big like silver remote with like 2 buttons on it, like that they all just took so seriously. I don't know. It made me giggle.
Speaking of remotes, I was looking and I noticed that they had the new TV that they got that couldn't be used with buttons but only a remote was a Zenith television, and it had me wondering what the fuck happened to Zenith televisions, and I looked it up. Would you like to know?
Yeah.
This is the Pleasantville Minute.
Yeah. They made it to the 90s and then they were acquired by LG. So they died. Now they're just LG. Because I was like, I haven't seen a Zenith television in forever, but I remember that thing did fucking numbers, like the CRT TVs. Like everybody had a Zenith somewhere. Like it was like a great garage little TV. Turns out they're just LG now. So
one thing I really liked about the movie was the black and white makeup. Like I thought that was a very interesting, actually having a metaphor that like has like a point here, like hiding yourself or whatever. Also just like a cool special effect. I thought that was one thing that like the movie did really well, where the mom is color and she's like embarrassed because she's no longer the perfect housewife.
Well, she's been fapping in the bath all day.
Mm-hmm.
She just spends all day in the like. There was one point that the husband comes home and he's like, "Honey, like where's my wife?" I was like, "She's in the bathtub, obviously." Mm-hmm. Like she just discovered
how many trees outside are on fire. Come on.
That's what I was saying. Rachel's like, "God damn it."
I also thought the makeup part was cool and like a cool effect for 1998. Like that probably was also especially cool in the mid 90s. I couldn't stop thinking about how her hair would have turned to color and they didn't bother with that.
Oh, sure.
And that bothered me. There's just like, if you think at all, there's a lot of plot. There's a lot of holes.
Yeah.
There was a piece of trivia that I didn't like. I read it before I saw the movie, and then I wasn't sure exactly what it meant. And then, like, maybe that's true, but it said, and again, I don't know if this actually is true. They said the most amount of special effects in a movie until The Phantom Menace the next year, like in any movie, because there's so many like individual scenes where a thing is colorized, but the whole thing is not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
That there's a lot of work to make it look like this.
Yeah, I kept thinking like this must have like been really cool at the time.
That's what I'm saying, because it doesn't feel like we could just do this like we do now on your like Instagram filter, like show me the flower, like that's a color, and then everything else around is black and white, right? Like they had to like intentionally do this somehow. I don't think they could just like, you know, magnetic lasso one piece of the film and black and white the rest of it.
My favorite shot in the movie
Is
where I'm like, why has this been like, the movie was like not like, it was ambitious but also not, and then this scene comes up and I'm like, oh my god, like this is like they're going for a thing, but it's Big Bob at the bowling alley in front of
excellent
the
shot.
scoreboard.
I thought this too.
And I was just
Excellent.
like, this is so cool looking. Like, they're like, oh, we're like actually gonna be like artistic and impressionistic and like have a point of view. And like you can see like Big Bob is flawless, like everything he throws
All the
is a
J's on the
strike
top.
or
Rachel
whatever.
commented about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then like this is when like William H. Macy's like, man, we gotta do something. Like the good old fashioned values are no longer the good old fashioned values. And Big Bob's like, well, we're gonna bring them back. We're the Chamber of Commerce. We're gonna do it.
True
like,
citizens.
This is so cool. And then the rest of the movie just doesn't look like this. But I was like, this is so interesting.
That was a great shot. I agree with you. I definitely remember that when we talked about it a lot when we were watching it. The framing of it and like the angle is really, really nice.
That's when he gave the Trump speech.
Yes.
They made a joke that I didn't get there. Why? They were like, it's okay, we're safe, we're in the bowling alley.
I think the bowling alley might have been segregated already, probably.
Okay.
I think that's what I was assuming that they were saying, that they
the
were
whole
like,
town was segregated.
I think he was saying that the bowling alley only had true citizens in it at the time, according to them using their terminology.
Okay.
Shout out to Jenny Lewis, who's in this for like 30 seconds.
Where is she in this movie?
She's the other. There's two friends at the beginning with Reese
In the real
Witherspoon.
world. Oh.
One of
Okay.
them is the girl from Dazed and Confused with the red curly hair,
Yeah.
and the other one is Jenny Lewis.
Like the way that Reese's hair is, I'm like, I know that Reese Witherspoon's in this movie, but I didn't really, again, hair blindness kind of didn't look like me, or to me did not look like her. And then I was so confused by her that I'm like, she kind of looks familiar too, but then also,
Do you think that Main Street in Pleasantville is a quarter-mile long, and would Dom love that if possible?
Well, his charger's already black.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. His shirt's already white.
But I mean, imagine you could just do a quarter-mile over and over and over again.
Well, if you did like a mile, would you just like drive down?
That's what I'm
Main
saying.
Street and just go whoop, 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 whoop?
That's what I'm saying. Do you just like go through the back end of Main Street and just keep going? We just do it
Maybe.
4 times?
It'd be cool.
It'd be pretty cool.
The craziest thing to me is, again, PG-13 movie with like 10 minutes to go. Toby's back in the real world. His mom just like, everything's all fucked up. I'm like, you saved your fuck for like the end here where like you didn't need to use it.
I didn't even remember that.
I didn't
funny.
realize that
She's
either.
like crying at the table like her whole life is like gone to shit or whatever. She's like, everything's all fucked up. And I rewind. I'm like,
Well, they're not going to curse in Pleasantville. I mean, maybe they could have.
He does. No, there's like a thing about it. Like somebody
he doesn't
says
say
like something.
fuck though. He says
Yeah,
something
he
less
just says like
bad.
a curse word. Yeah. And they're like, we don't curse here.
Yeah.
I would like to be. That would have been a great colorized moment. That somebody's like,
Yeah.
fuck, and they're like,
Yeah.
poof, and they just like come to color. Right? That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
See, we could have wrote some of these jokes.
we always look for who gets the fuck in a Fast and Furious movie because you really
Yeah.
only get one. And then, like, I wasn't licked because there's no reason to think about it here. Although it would have made more sense, I think, to have it, like you're saying, Joe, in the world and just, like, have a colorized moment. For just the mom to be crying at the table, like, okay, sure.
Yeah, you got it in. Cool.
Smash cut to Fiona Apple covering the Beatles Across the Universe to end the movie for some reason, which I like, but...
I mean, I
That was
love
an
Fiona
interesting
Apple, but, yeah.
Movie was weird, though.
It was weird. It definitely was a little weird. Yeah. I'm glad that I watched it. I like seeing a young Reese Witherspoon. I liked Paul Walker. I wish he was in it more. I think it would be more interesting if Paul Walker was a Tobey Maguire character and it was like more, but he's nerd, whatever. You can't really sell Paul Walker as like super nerd that
I think
watches
he has to be
Pleasantville.
who he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is also, to our point, disappointing that he just becomes like part of the racist town instead of having his own arc. It's
That's what
just
I'm
like,
saying. Yeah.
He has his moment, fades away.
One thing that I said to Rachel is like, these fuckers also did not capitalize on their opportunity. They come back. Tobey Maguire is like the only one that has any knowledge. He works at the only hop in town that sells the only burgers and milkshakes in town. And his sister knows about blowjobs. They could have been billionaires. Do you know what kind of corporation you could have built if you're the only ones that know about art, literature, hamburgers, milkshakes, and blowjobs? Like, that's like the 5... What?
Hooters.
Yeah, just open a Hooters. They would have just raked in every dollar that Pleasantville had.
So I mentioned on, what was the time travel thing it's coming up. But when we talk about the time travel on Star Trek 4, we I mentioned 11/22/63 and about how like they went back to like save the JFK assassination. Like there's like the quote unquote rule of time travel, like you can't actually undo important things because it like unfurls time or whatever. The premise of that in the book is that like there's just a portal in the back room of like a diner, and the guy doesn't tell anybody about it, but like all he's doing is he's going back to the 50s, buying a bunch of cheap burgers, and then coming back to America. Like buying like that's the premise. He's like
he's running a kitchen at a discount.
Really good beef before it was like, you know, whatever, like before we ruin the food.
Yeah.
And he's spending like, you know, 30 cents a pound or whatever, and then coming back and selling these amazing burgers at below market cost because he has this portal to the 50. Like that's just like that's the premise of 11/22/63. And then
that's
the James
awesome.
Franco character is just like, I'm gonna go stop JFK from getting shot. It's like, well, you're kind of fucking up my hamburger thing, but like, all right, man, like whatever you got to do.
Yeah, you get a day and a half, and that's it.
But yeah, like beef in the 50s is like it's a boom industry in both 11/22/63 and your version of Pleasantville.
I mean, this guy I'm just saying, you're in a town that has 2 roads and it loops back around. There's one diner. Like, you have to be making a fucking killing. Okay, so my sugar gremlin loved this movie too, by the way, because like I dream of waking up and just having a stack of waffles, a stack of pancakes, 3 different types
all
of
coated
pork
in maple syrup.
So much syrup.
Yeah, and then you come home at night, you get cookies, you get Rice Krispie treats. I love it.
Jordan, I don't want this to be a serious question because I'm sure you could do any number of things that are like actually important. But if you went back to the 50s, what fun thing would you open? Like what business would you open with the knowledge you have now? Like Joe would open up a Hooters. What would you do?
I think it would be like half a strip club. Yeah, no, Hooters works. Hooters works. You're good.
You need like a sexy burger place is basically
what
you're doing,
that's
right?
What I'm trying to do.
Again, not trying to like, you know, change race relations or anything like that, but like with who
like
you
a
are
fun
and
answer?
What you know.
I don't know. That's so hard for me to answer because I would never do that. I would never be like, I'm going to open a business. I'm never brick and mortar business. Never.
I'm gonna do modern day circus stuff. I'm gonna blow their goddamn
I thought
minds.
dance studio. Dance studio would be fun.
But that's like, you know, that's not even like they got like touring circuses and stuff. Then the vibe is like real different.
Yeah.
Real different. But the circuit, it's like the circus existed then, but it was that back when circuses were primarily you pass it down in the family, which still happens in some places today. But yeah, I mean, that's my only skill anyway. So I guess I'm opening a circus school. Or no, I got it. Here's what I would do. I would open a ladies' fitness studio.
Ooh, yeah.
That would crush. Yeah, you're like right before like where this is, but like you can convince them that like being healthy is cool.
Yeah.
Just have a row of those machines with the rubber band around your waist.
Yes,
and just,
I would be like, here, we're going to get muscles. You're going to pick up heavy things. And I would convince them that it was okay, you know?
Then all their
husbands. You also need at least one of those rubber band machines because like that's like the 50s exercise.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Great.
When we were in Japan, we would go to the gym at the old Olympic Park, and they had like a whole bunch of like that kind of shit that I assumed it was like left there from the Olympics and the in wherever it was.
Wow.
And like and they all still used it. Like it was like a lot of the like towel around your ass shit and like just jiggly stuff, like stuff that you just stand on and just jiggle for no reason. And like it was being used. So
you say they all smoke while they work out, right? Or no? Or did I make that up?
I mean, well, a lot of people would smoke and then go into the gym. And then there's power walkers outside, which was also a blast to see, that they would just be doing laps power walking with their hip swivel. They were fun, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was smoking while I was working out there, so I would see the power walkers when I was outside of the gym. Yeah.
Jordan, you have other notes, other thoughts, anything else to say about Pleasantville before we watch the trailer?
I don't think so.
Are you glad you watched it or no?
I will forget about that I watched it tomorrow. Like, I won't forget that we had this conversation, but I will forget everything about the movie tomorrow. Like, very neutral, a little upset.
I have one more thing that I didn't say that is one of my favorite jokes in the movie. That's probably one of my favorite parts. It's really early on, and you see Reese Witherspoon. I think it's like probably like the first thing you see. And Reese Witherspoon's talking to her friends, and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you're related to him." And she's like, "Only on my parents' side."
That was funny.
I thought that was a top tier joke. I was like, if we're starting like this, I love it.
It might have been Jenny Lewis or it might have been the other one, but they say to her, "Well, you must be from the cool side of the uterus."
Yes, that was the next line after it, yeah.
See, if the whole movie had been written like that, it would have been better. Like what happened to that script, you know?
There is a movie that John covered on 1999 on the podcast called Blast from the Past, which has
The Brendan Fraser movie?
yes. Because I think that's also like he has been stuck in like a nuclear bunker or something, and like comes out and like he's like it's the 50s sort of thing with like modern day sensibility, but like in reverse, something like that. I haven't seen the movie. I listened to the episode when he put it out, last year. That was compared to this because this came first, and apparently people were not very. I think this movie's well regarded. I think people like Pleasantville. Like it has good ratings, good reviews. Like the Letterboxd is a high average.
I wonder who goes back and watches this. But that's what I'm saying. Like at this moment, like who is this movie for now?
I don't know, but some of the so this also came out around the same time as The Truman Show, which is a much better movie.
I love that movie. Yeah.
And so a lot of some of the reviews I read from the 90s kind of were like, this is like The Truman Show but worse. But yeah, I feel like nobody would make that connection today.
I just want to know who's watching this movie today going like, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Some good old-fashioned Nazi turns.
But again, like it is in the end, it's like, well, no, they are defeated, right? Like the whole world gets the woke mind virus, and we're all happy.
That's what I'm
saying.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like now, who watches this? Like, because we're like, this is kind of gross, and then like. And you're like,
I wonder if so I'm like almost 40 now. So watching this, I'm like, ooh, it's baby Reese Witherspoon. Ooh, it's baby. So I wonder if it's just like a bunch of moms who like aren't even clocking a lot of the stuff that we're clocking, and they're just like, ooh, the 90s, like, ooh, baby Paul Walker. Because I felt like that a little bit,
That makes sense. Yeah, just gushing like about the like who's in it, not actually what the movie. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because there is something. There's like a double nostalgia here because it's like our nostalgia of the actors we grew up watching, while they are also being nostalgic about the faux version of the 50s that they sort of grew up watching. Like it's right. It's like it's the Inception nostalgia, whatever.
Yeah.
Jody, other notes, other thoughts?
No, that was my last one. I think that was my last one.
Watch the trailer. I feel like I have not seen the trailer. I feel like it has to be like a slam dunk. Like this feels like such an easy movie to do a trailer for.
Yeah, just because the effect is cool. Like I was saying, like the color thing, like once you like bring that out, you're going to be like, oh shit, this is fire.
I don't want to keep dwelling on this because I don't know that people actually follow this, but I keep bringing it up whenever I'm surprised by timing of things in movies. I mentioned this earlier, but in the book Save the Cat, talking about like screenplay structure,
yes.
Generally the break in the two, like the big shift comes 25 minutes in. This is 10 minutes. Like, it feels like they would have spent more time, but also, like, I'm glad that they
didn't skip right to Pleasantville. Like, that's the important part. This was a good choice, I think, on that part of it.
On that note, like, I mean, because it's like, what else could have even happened in real life? Like, I don't want to, it's right. Not, the movie was already too long. I don't really need to see them in their real lives.
Is he just
for any of the rest to make sense? Yeah, like.
This has the structure to me, or the premise of, like, a Disney Channel original movie, kind of, right? Where it feels like that kind of thing, where maybe it's just like, well, we just got to get there because the kids don't have attention span. But it's like, well, why are you keeping us around for 2 hours?
Also, yeah.
That actually made me think of, so at the beginning, Tobey Maguire is watching Pleasantville, and while his mom is on the phone, and it sounds like she's arguing with his dad about, like, the dad is supposed to have them that weekend.
Yes,
and so,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they set it up. He has this like maybe broken family. His dad isn't maybe really involved as he should be. They like set that up and then they never really used it again. Like, I don't know. Like I wanted Tobey Maguire for a minute to like go to Pleasantville and be like, wow, isn't it nice to have a nice mom and a nice dad?
Yeah.
I don't know like what purpose that would have served. Like, I don't know that would have made it more interesting, but I just, why'd you set it up like that then?
You're right. Yeah, it could have paid off if he was like, nuclear family, this is really cute. We do like breakfast in the mornings and like everybody's hanging around. That's very cool. And like him being the one to want to stay, as opposed to Reese being like, I can read now. Like, okay, cool. I get it.
All right, let's watch the trailer. Pleasantville 1998 official trailer, Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon comedy movie HD, posted by Rotten Tomatoes Classic Trailers 10 years ago, has 1.4 million views. The still is cool because it's color and black and white. It's just like, this is very clearly, we know what's going on. Your colored girlfriend. Let me know when you're both ready.
I so intentionally did
Just-
not say that 50,000 times this episode. I really tried. So
It makes me so, like I'm gonna be mad about
it's kind of wincing.
that they used that word for like it's like you took something from real life and you put it in your movie and it's so problematic and just like they could have done so many other things to like make it like slightly less awful. I don't know.
Like I told you, I looked at Rachel and was like, they're gonna say it, aren't they? And she's like, no, they're not. And then they did.
Did they think they were making a point about something?
I don't know.
I think it's just shortcut to understanding who he is. It's like, oh, he's one of the bad ones.
That makes it better.
I cannot.
Okay, ready when you are.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. That New Line Cinema thing had sound.
It did.
Unlike the crazy credit in the film.
Where life is simple.
We didn't even make the milkman black or something. Come on, we even did that in the 50s, right?
And everything is black and white.
I did think that the movie opening with like 2 minutes of like what Pleasantville show is was like really...
That was cool.
It was well done.
See, I want that plate of Rice Krispie treats. I bet they're fire.
Let me see that. Than we think.
Perfect.
I'm not sure.
Look at me.
I like that they instantly gave Reese Witherspoon one of those 50s bras that she's like very pointy in too.
Yeah, which
That's
she
pretty
complains
funny.
about later.
I'm wearing
Yeah.
3 pounds of underwear.
Yeah, exactly.
Pleasantville?
No!
We're supposed to be in school.
We're supposed to be in color?
What's all the commotion?
There he is.
I didn't think you'd
Babe.
come here until we'd been pinned for a little while.
You can pin me anytime you want to. Or maybe I should just pin you.
She's a fine young woman.
Girls can't pin boys.
To be concerned about.
They can now.
From the creator of Big and Dave.
What are you doing?
See?
to these
Big
people?
and
You can't
Dave.
do this to them. You're messing with their whole universe.
Her tongue going color before she does is hysterical
Comes
to
a
me.
story about the loss of innocence.
I brought you something from the library.
Gee whiz.
And the power of change.
Well, what's outside of Pleasantville?
There's some
Uh-oh.
places where the road keeps going.
Like
Sorry.
even though it's internally inconsistent, there is something really cool, even though it makes no sense and is frustrating, about seeing like a black and white character run
I
through
agree.
a fully
That's what
colored
I'm
world.
saying.
Yeah,
Yes,
totally.
yes, yes. This, like Tobey Maguire in the thing, everything around him is colorized besides him.
And it works great in a trailer too. Like, ooh, this is interesting.
excellent.
Yeah.
Very much so.
William H. Macy, Joan Allen, Reese Witherspoon, and Tobey Maguire.
So what's going to happen now?
I don't know.
Pleasantville.
What are we gonna do, Bob? Well, we're safe for now.
There's the
Thank
shot.
Goodness we're in a bowling alley.
Yeah.
I think another thing the movie could have done that could have been interesting but also would have gotten old quickly is it starts and then quickly abandons if they need to say certain lines to like keep the story going. Like when Paul Walker shows up, he goes, "Hiya, bud," and then Toby says whatever, and then like it's clearly not the right line.
Because he's an
He does it
NPC.
again.
Like
So
in the
Paul Walker's
Yeah.
like, "Hiya, bud." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hiya, Skip," or whatever, and it goes from there. But like that's where the encyclopedic knowledge of the show would have come into play.
But we abandoned that immediately.
But we abandoned
Because
it.
they did establish that he knows all the words to the shows. Yeah, they did.
But I mean,
yeah.
but they abandoned it in the idea of the storytelling of what happens later in the film. Like, because it's like once you know we unlock seeing the rose, then like everything has tilted, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Let's play the letterbox game. So for
Okay.
reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road has been seen by 2.4 million people on Letterboxd. Pleasantville, from 1998, directed by Gary Ross, starring Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon, William H. Macy, Joan Allen, Jeff Daniels, J.T. Walsh, and Paul Walker, has been seen by how many people?
I've been starting too low. You want me to go first, Jordan, to give you
yeah,
kind of a
please,
gauge?
please.
I've been starting too low. I'm going to start this one at 115,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
But you think that's low?
no, I've been guessing too low.
You've been guessing too low. Got it.
so
got it,
I'm
got it.
bringing it up. I don't know if it's that high, but that was my guess. Go ahead. Would you say?
There's a couple things you were saying that you were also way over some. So
Yeah, that's true.
we've been doing some tough games in this lately.
All right.
Tough movies for this game.
Well, based on no knowledge at all,
1998, but baby Reese Witherspoon, Paul Walker, a movie that people reference.
Okay, Jordan, how many almost 40-year-old moms do you think are on Letterboxd?
That's a good thing.
The
The
that-
age scale
not
of
that
the
many.
Letterboxd user.
Not that many.
It's actually more than you think. A lot of
Really?
people are, yeah, it's a lot. Like, I've watched this with my kids, and
Yeah,
like they
that's
log
true.
it, you know?
They log it.
So I was trying to balance that in my head.
All right, tell me, what number did you say?
115,000.
Well, I'll just say 200,000.
Somewhere in between the two. One more guess. Or two, I guess two more guesses, but next guess.
135.
I'll say 120.
You're both now too low. One more guess.
Okay.
142.
I'll say 155.
Jordan's first guess was very, very close. I was wondering if either of you were going to go like a little
No,
bit lower.
no. I wasn't.
197.
Okay.
That's insane. You
Okay.
almost nailed it. You did good. I give you the win on that one off the rip.
We
That
don't play
was-
Price is Right rules.
No,
Okay.
it's close enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you did excellent with your first
Okay,
guess.
okay.
Top tier.
Average rating of a 3.7, most common a 4, then a 3.5, then a 3. Basically, the only things that people have given this movie in Letterboxd are 3, 3.5, or 4. Like that's
You know what I would really like to see?
What?
I would like to see the rating of this film longitudinally over time and see if the ratings have just gently declined.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like are the recent ones like way more 3s than like when this, was 5 years old, it was like way more 4. Like I can see it just sloping down.
2 of the 3 most recent reviews, which are since I wrote my nonsense whatever last night. One's a 5-star with a heart, and one's a 4-star with a heart. And the 4-star just says, "It's just rain. It's okay. Ate me so hard," which is not a phrase that I knew, but I guess it just ate her.
That's a teen girl that would
Ate
have
her.
written poetry or something.
How many of those 197,000 people have put Pleasantville in their top 4 favorite films of all time on Letterboxd?
Oh god, too many. It's gonna be a fuck ton too. Give me 700 to start.
That's a bold guess.
I mean, the probability. I mean, it's I don't know, but I think the rain ate me thing just threw me off. Like, I think that there's a lot of teen girls that watch this movie and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so dreamy," and you're like, "Did you hear them say that word 50,000 times?" Because like it's weird. But okay, what's your guess, Jordan?
That makes me want to go lower than you. I'll say 500.
You're both too low.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, 1,500. Double me up.
I'll go.
Or in casino terms, say color me up.
I'll
Don't
go
say color me
3,000.
Now you're both too high. One more guess.
936.
1,200.
811. So Joe was like, Jordan, the rule of thumb that we use on this is it's usually 1/10 of 1%, so it quote unquote should be about 200.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that there's 811 is crazy. I thought
Yeah.
when I thought Joe was saying like I'm going to guess high, I thought he was going to guess like 200 or like
No.
the fact that he was even in the ball, I was just like, whoa, okay, because like 811 is crazy for this movie.
I told you, rain ate me. That was my
Rain ate
like
me.
once you read that
It's
review,
rain.
I was
it's
like,
okay, ate me up. Okay,
Yep.
sure. We're gonna go to Shirani at Shirani on Letterboxd. Watched this 2 years ago. What a pleasant movie. 4.5 stars.
LOL.
And then said symbolic freaks and geeks, 4.5 stars last September. So we're gonna go to Shirani's profile. Come to my profile for real, honest reviews. Nothing more, nothing less.
how old do you
Shirani's
think
still-
Shirani is?
Actively using Letterboxd. Pleasantville, Shirani's number 4 favorite film of all time. Her top, I'm assuming her, I think, because there's a woman.
I don't know.
If it's a whatever,
Them.
but
Yeah.
her top 3 are all from the 2000s. 2 of them are High School Slumber Party all-star movies, and 1 is of a type, but older women.
So Mean Girls is one. Fuck.
Wait, what? Say it again? That was so many words.
2 of them are High School Slumber Party all-star movies. Like, they're just like
Okay.
in the Hall of Fame of high school movies. And then 1
From the 2000s.
Joe, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but if the Mean Girls girls grow up, what movie do they make when they're about 25 or 30?
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids, number 3.
Good shit. Thank you. Yep. That's why I thought you said Mean Girls. I didn't know the older one, but I thought the Mean Girls.
It's not like that's not a high school movie, but it's like it feels like a high school.
Yeah.
It feels like
It's got a click. It's got a yeah.
I've never watched Bridesmaids. I refuse to.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
Why?
really good.
It's like
really good.
actually hilariously funny.
I don't like weddings too much, or much of that cast. Just like Melissa McCarthy doesn't do anything for me.
Joe
What?
hates
She's
women.
so funny. Like I would watch Melissa McCarthy do anything and laugh.
People telling me Melissa McCarthy is funny is like people telling you Amy Schumer's funny.
Well, Amy Schumer, they both were funny. Then we just had like oversaturation of both of them. Like when they got put into everything, and just like we're tired of them. But like
And
back
they're
then,
all
Melissa
kind of
McCarthy,
always the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like at this time, I will say what I'm sure a lot of people said at the time. She's a revelation. She was really good in Bridesmaids. And just like at a certain point, also whenever we get to spy for this with Statham, she's also great in that.
I bet. I would like to see her with
the hatred
Statham.
of that, but yes.
I feel you.
Okay, top
Bridesmaids.
2, both high school movies.
Okay.
Very different high school movies. One came out in 2007, one came out in 2017. Both heavily Oscar, at least awarded, if not winning. I'm going to look up both of these, but hold on. High school movies 07 and 17. Let me see how many Oscars they each had.
07, the year I graduated. What was the big high school movie? Superbad?
That's what
No, I
I
don't
wanted to say, but that doesn't sound right.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't
No.
fit the like feel of this person.
No.
But the timing sounded right in high school.
And both of these are... I love both these movies. One, I will say I'm afraid to rewatch, but I would say they're both like stereotypically girl movies.
Okay.
You're afraid
The
to
one from
rewatch?
2007 was nominated for 4 Oscars. It won 1 of them. And the 2017 one was nominated for 5 Oscars, won none of them. But they both have heavy Oscar.
2017. 8 years ago. Girl high school movies. Is one of them Booksmart? Does that feel right?
Nope, but that's in the ballpark.
That's
but
what
yeah.
I want to. Yeah, or like 8th grade was also out at that time, but that's not quite high school and probably didn't win any Oscars.
Yeah. 2007.
One of the
Is
an
it
actor-
2007 like Romeo and Juliet the reboot or something?
No,
like,
that's 96.
Okay.
That was
The 2017 one stars. No, it features an actor nominated for Best Actor this year.
Oh.
He's not the star, but he's one of the sort of leads.
Interesting. It's not Timmy. He was too young. Is it?
Oh, it is.
Oh, Lady Bird. There you
Lady
go.
Bird.
There we
Oh
go.
yeah,
Fuck
Lady
yeah.
Bird.
Yeah, he plays her like
2017.
shitbag guy
Yes.
who sleeps with her.
Yeah.
2007, high school all-star film, Hall of Fame film, 4 Oscar nominations, 1 win. I'm afraid to rewatch it. I don't know.
Nervous to rewatch it. Okay.
It was a movie that I loved then. I'm sure it's still good, but also be like, oh, that's 2007 as fuck.
What is it? Fuck. I don't know. I don't know the 2007. You got to give me more, bud.
Yeah, one more clue.
There's clues I want to give that I would think would probably be insensitive for me to say.
Oh no, this makes me so curious.
It's like Tropic Thunder or something. Like that's not a high school movie.
High school though,
high school
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
1.8 million people have logged this.
Oh God.
It's about a big life moment that people go through, but not often high schoolers.
Big, like a pregnancy.
Juno.
Juno. I bet Juno's creepy as fuck now, bro.
No, I think it's just the Diablo Cody, like, don't be so lime green jello, like all like like Jennifer's Body is a great movie. Like there's a lot of like the Diablo Cody isms that are like, ooh, I feel like Juno probably does not.
No,
hold
I just
up.
think the premise of Juno is probably fucking creepy, dude.
I would be curious. I feel like even at the time I was a little bit like ugh, about Juno.
Yeah, I watched it on a plane. I remember,
But
it
I
being
don't
like,
I won't even lie and tell you I remember why.
I mean, they just have sex on that recliner. It's just her and Michael Cera. It's like her high school boyfriend. Like they just
No, but there's the creepy old guy that like makes her the mixtapes and shit. That's fucking what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I don't
It's
remember
weird.
that.
Oh yeah, it's weird. She has like a weird teacher that she has like a weird relationship
You
with.
sure you're not thinking about Hard Candy?
No, I'm not. I'm specifically thinking about Juno.
The hint I was going to say that I would give it away was that like the main actor no longer goes by the name that they went by then.
Understood. Yeah.
I was like that. I don't know if that's like insensitive or like would give it away or whatever, but you know.
I wouldn't even have got that clue because I only know Elliot Page at this point. It's just Elliot Page in my brain. So like I would have been like, who
Joe
you
just
talking
turned
about?
from
Like
black and white to color. You
I
just
did.
You missed it.
I got
He's
the
full color
woof.
now.
Yeah. But like I really would have forgotten that existed. It would have been worse for me. I would have been like, what are you talking about?
Well, Jordan, thank you for joining. Sorry that the movie was a little bit of a weird one, but we're glad to have you here and talking about
It was
Pleasantville.
wonderful having you back.
Yes, it was great to be here. I will say, sometimes when I've watched movies for podcasts before, I couldn't watch them, and at least I made it through this one.
Yeah, I had to watch it in a couple chunks, but I got through it. But yeah, you know, there's worse movies. I think it's still pretty good. It just like it could have been better, and it was still a little.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was definitely interesting to watch this many years later.
Jordan, do you have anything going on the internet where you want people to find you, or are you mostly offline these days? Because I don't know the answer to this question myself.
I am mostly offline for my own sanity. Can I plug my website though for my business?
Of course, whatever you want.
I am a personal trainer. I specialize in working with neurodivergent and hypermobile people, but I also love working with people who hate the gym and just don't know what to do with themselves. I got you. My website is jordan-pc.com. You can get my vibe there. I work exclusively virtually. Yeah, I love my job. I love helping
That's
people
really
with
cool.
things.
That's really cool.
Thanks.
And Jordan, you'll be back in a couple of months to talk about a Fast and Furious movie. We're looking forward to having you back then.
I have a dumb question, but which one did I say I would
Which one
watch?
do you think it is?
I feel
I
like
think
you even
I think
said
you said it
earlier.
earlier. I remember.
No,
when
I
you
didn't
said
say it earlier.
9?
You did.
you say
No,
9?
but I wasn't talking about that one. It's not 9.
Okay.
It's not 9.
You're going to be back to
No,
about 7.
7. Oh, I like that one.
Good. Yeah, I think you were early to the boat on terms of like Fast and Furious movies. So
Very
yeah, well,
cool.
you'll be back in April to talk about Furious 7.
Cool.
Joe, our next episode is A Life in the Fast Lane, Tokyo Drift, minute number 8. And then after that one, our patrons will get Star Trek 4, which I mentioned here, The Voyage Home. Hope you enjoyed our Draft Day episode, our Super Bowl Sunday
That was so much
episode.
fun. That was so much fun.
Vontae Mack, no matter what. We're back on the bonus episode thing, so every other week we have bonus episodes coming out on Mondays. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, coming out on Feb 24.
I was just I was just talking about the Draft Day episode because my coworker today was like, I forget what quarterback he was talking about, but he was like, look, like I think we could fix him. It was Drew Lock. That's what he was saying. He was like, the Steelers should go after Drew Lock. I think we could fix him. I was like telling him about Brian's story about like Bo Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could fix him.
Well, the Giants currently have no quarterbacks on their roster, so they need something.
Yeah, Russ Wilson, get the fuck out of here.
Well, he's going to Vegas. You know he's going to Vegas to
No,
Carroll.
they're drafting Shador.
Russ is a bridge. Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on most of the social sites. Email us, family@cageclub.me. We'll read it on the next episode, Our Life in the Fast Lane. That's when we read those emails. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com. If you love Star Trek 4, you're like, ooh, or Draft Day. Very weird. I don't know that there's many people who are going to love both those movies, but if you love either of those
Venn
movies,
diagram overlap. Yeah.
go to TooFastTooForever.com, join the Patreon. From $1 a month gets you early access to every episode, bonus episodes every other week, all sorts of stuff. TooFastTooForever.com, and come back next week for Life in the Fast Lane as we explore more of Shangri-La and Shoutout Pleasant Cove. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Jordan Polan-Clarke, and we will tell you all about it
When we see you again.